And now let me welcome on to Missouri Valley Media Day here on the field of 68. Matthew Graves, who is one of the 5 new head coaches in the Missouri Valley. But Matt, you're not a newcomer to the conference, so to speak. You were boots on the ground the
Yeah.
last 3 years as Josh Schertz built this Indiana State program from a team that went 13-20 in year 1 to a team that went 13-7 in the league in year 2 to a 32-win league champ, an NIT finalist, and I'll say it, a national sensation in year 3. What did you learn about being able to kind of flip a program that quickly, and what are you going to take away from working with Josh the last 3 seasons?
Well, I think first and foremost, you got to continue to recruit really good players, and I think part of that, especially in the system that we want to continue to play, is having guys that have that corporate knowledge. Coach Church would talk about that all the time, and for example, last year's team, everyone was talking about, you got, 7, 8 new guys to your roster. But when you really boil down to it, we played about 6 guys most of the year. And 4 of those 6 guys were in this system for multiple years. And then you add Isaiah Swope, Ryan Conwell to that mix, who are obviously very high talented players and skilled players. And, it makes for, a magical group.
All right, so the good news, you got the job, right? Which
Yeah,
you deserve.
absolutely. That's great, Jeff. That's great news. These jobs are hard to
That's
get. So
great.
that's great news.
No question, you got another opportunity because you had one at South Alabama,
Yeah.
and got to kind of learn then. The bad news, if there is obviously the transfer portal hit you guys pretty good. I just saw 2 of your former players down in Austin, Texas, Jason Kent and Julian Larry. Robbie, we know, followed Schertz. Conwell's at Xavier, Swope's at St. Louis as well. I don't know. Your head's had to be spinning. You get this job, and again, it's tough these days. Let's face it. I mean, if you don't have the NIL in place, and I know you didn't a year ago. I know you guys did probably more with less than anybody in the country. But how hard has it been after getting the job, now with the expectations that are at Indiana State because of what you did the last few years?
Well, the one good thing that comes from all this, people are excited. People are interested in Indiana State, and you have kind of reignited the fan base, if you will. There's been pockets of years. Royce Waltman had some good teams. Greg Lansing had some good teams, and being able to get the sustained success that we're trying to get to is our goal. And when you have a fan base that's excited and ready to see more, that puts obviously more pressure, more of an onus on us as a coaching staff to find the right players and get involved with really good players. But our platform that we had in the spring, playing as deep as we did into April, really helped get us in the door with some transfers. And starting on basically May 1st, trying to is not easy with limited NIL resources, but we feel like we were able to piece together, a pretty good team. And, obviously we got a lot of work cut out for us. The Missouri Valley was really hit hard with the transfer portal and, 5 new coaches. So it's going to be a learning curve for a lot of people, but at the same time, we got to really focus on, our team, what we can do and continue to get better and really build off, the excitement that we have here in Terre Haute and the Wabash Valley area.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that because it was an interesting situation when you play as long as you guys did. There were only 4 teams that played a basketball game last season after you guys played, and those were the 4 teams in the Final Four. And then you had the coaching change, and then you had to get the job, and then you start diving into, okay, well, we're a month behind schedule. At the same time, you're one of the last 6 teams playing basketball during the season. You're playing national television, big ESPN on a Thursday night, showcasing what you guys can do. So how did that balance kind of strike? Was it more positive having people know who Indiana State is versus, we're kind of playing behind the 8 ball, so to speak?
Well, no, that's a great question. And there's no doubt that, if our season ends, March 15th, just to pick a random date instead of, middle of April, you're going to get an opportunity to be involved with some different types of transfers. There's a couple kids, locally, and I say locally, meaning in the state of Indiana, that went other places that, we would have probably gotten involved with in the transfer portal. But by the time, we were done playing and the coaching search, all that had taken place, they were off the board. And that's part of it. But I don't think I would, I know for a fact I would never trade the experience that we had with our team and because it allowed us a platform, to get involved with some transfers late, but also it really springboarded us into recruiting the 2025s and 2026s, because now what we dreamed about 3 years ago, constant sellout crowds, being able to play in April. We dreamed about that 3 years ago, and now it came to reality. We've got pictures, we've got video, and we can show recruits, if you come to Terre Haute, we get the right mix of guys that really care about the team, that really buy into playing this style of basketball. You can have tremendous amount of success, and we can show that now instead of just dream that.
Matt, is there something coming out of the first stint at South Alabama that, because I've talked to a lot of coaches over the years, and they're like, if I got another one, I would do it differently. Now, again, the times have changed since South Alabama. Now it's NIL. The world's different with the portal. But is there something where you kind of said to yourself, and you'll be steadfast on it, I'm going to do that differently this time around?
I think one of the biggest things for me, the experience part is the biggest thing for me. I was very fortunate as a coach that I spent 12 years at Butler University with, Todd Licklider, Brad Stevens, was around a lot of great people. And part of that, though, you were insulated too. One of my former assistants, kind of joked about, you were in the Butler bubble for so long, you don't know what the real world of coaching is like, dealing with, APR. I had no idea what APR was at Butler University. You didn't have to worry about certain things like that. And so the experience piece, going down there, being a head coach for 5 years, and then, coming to Evansville for a year under Walter McCarty, then going to Xavier for 2 years and being in the Big East and with Coach Steele, and then with Coach Schertz the last 3 years, just the overall experience and being able to be put into different situations, being at different schools, seeing how things are done differently. All of those kind of really added to my toolbox, if you will. And I think that's what's going to make me a better coach this time around, just having different experiences other than the wonderful, great experience I did have at Butler. But you were somewhat insulated, to be real candid.
So you guys last season led the nation in threes. You scored 84.5 points per game. You were top 15 nationally in offensive efficiency, according to KenPom. You were a delight to watch play. How much of that style is going to continue next season under Matthew Graves?
The style is going to be very similar. We're going to try to play really fast. We're going to try to space the floor. We're going to share the basketball. The same concepts will be in place. Obviously, you've got to have the players to execute that system. And we've tried to do our best with where we were on May 1st and what was available in the transfer portal and the high school scene to recruit to that. And I think you got to lay a foundation. It's no different than 3 years ago when we started here. When Josh was, in his first year at Indiana State, and we had to bring in 9 or 10 guys, and you've got to, out of those 9 or 10 guys, you got to find 5 or 6 that, stay with you. And then in year 2, you got to find 4 or 5 more guys. And then ultimately that corporate knowledge builds upon itself, and you got to, piece together the right talent. But ultimately you need 8 or 9 guys that have that corporate knowledge and understand how you want to play, are unselfish. And that's the one thing that, I tell people in this recruiting process. All 5 starters we had last year were all conference, and, we had 6 man of the year. So if you buy in, do what you need to do offensively, defensively, and we can carry that over, everyone's going to be successful. And that's the style of play we want to play, we want to coach, but most importantly, it wins and our fans enjoy, watching that unselfish, team first style of play.
So do you think this year's team, which is, again, a lot of new faces, will have that balance, or has somebody emerged, a guy or two over the summer, that you think you'll kind of gear the offense towards?
No, we will definitely be a strength in numbers. I think we've got several guys that are capable of, averaging anywhere from 8 to 13 points a game. I would be pleasantly surprised if somebody was averaging 16, 17 points a game. I think we've got guys that, last year we played 6 guys, sometimes 7. I think this year it'll be more like 9 guys will get opportunities to play, just because we need to figure out, we've got 9 freshmen and sophomores on this roster, no juniors and 4 seniors. So we're really young. And what we've got to figure out, though, out of those 9 freshmen and sophomore, who is the core group of guys that are going to continue to build with and, stay in our program and for the long term, be big cornerstones for what we're trying to do here in Terre Haute.
Who's going to be wearing the rec specs? Who's gonna carry on the legacy of having the goggles?
Oh shoot, I don't know that anybody's going to be able to do that. Robbie was such a unique and special player, but a funny story, and I can't name the recruit. Obviously, it would be a violation. But there's a kid we're recruiting that just absolutely loves Robbie and wears the goggles, and we have great film and video to show him this is what it could be like. So hopefully we can use that to our advantage.
All right, so I'm told your greatest skill, Matt, is not coaching. That your greatest skill is actually that you can sign your name while spinning a ball on the eraser part of a pencil. Is that true?
Yes, that is true. That is very true.
Sign the ball. You can sign your name with one hand while you're spinning it with your other hand.
No, it's on the same.
The same hand?
I spin the ball.
And you're signing.
I'm holding the pencil in my right hand. The ball is on top of the pencil spinning, and then I'm signing it with that same hand.
Wow, that is impressive.
How did you?
Impressive.
Hold on. How did you? Why do you know you can do that? Like, how did you figure that out?
Rob, that is a great question. So the answer is, in high school, it was in a sociology class, and the teacher challenged us to come up with something that nobody else in the class could do. And I don't know how I came upon just doing that. I mean, I was always in the gym. As a kid growing up in Swit City, there's not much to do. So you're always in the gym and coming up with all kinds of trick shots and doing things. And when you have a key to a gym, it's really special. And probably just sitting there after a workout one day, just kind of messing around, because I always had a pencil in my workouts in high school, because I'd chart my shots and write down makes and misses and all that. I was probably sitting there and just said, hey, I just started spinning the ball and spun it on an eraser, and then it took off from there. So yeah, just that's one of the worthless tricks that I guess I possess.
Hey Rob, do you know that Matt cost me one of maybe the biggest scoops I've ever had in my life? Did you know this? Matt forgets this, I think. So I called Matt probably late June of 2013, and I said, I'm hearing somebody called me and said Brad Stevens is going to the Boston Celtics as a head coach at that point. I said, I've heard it from a couple places now. I don't really believe the source that told me. I just didn't have a lot of faith in. Matt, what do you think? And he's like, there's no way.
Yep.
There's no way he's going to the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'll put this thing to bed. I trust Matt. He knows Brad well. And he told me, he's like, I don't know for sure, but my feeling, there's no chance he goes. July 3rd, what happens? The Boston Celtics put out a press release to announce that Brad Stevens was their next head coach. And so you owe me one. You owe me one.
I do. I do owe you one. And the honest truth, and Brad, as well, he keeps things close to the vest. And I had no idea. I had no idea to this day.
What was that moment like when you found out? Like, were you like us on, it was like 6:00 the night before July 4th. I think I was
Yeah, what was funny? I can remember exactly what I was doing, where I was at. I was in the Mitchell Center, and I was meeting with my AD. And our offices in the Mitchell Center were down in the basement area, so you got very limited cell service down there. And I was walking out, and all of a sudden, my phone just started text message, missed call, and I'm like, oh boy, well, it's like, am I late for dinner, or something happened to my kids, or, what's going on? And it's all these people like, did you hear what happened? And so about 5 minutes later, I ended up, calling Brad on the phone. He said, yep, I, made the leap and, going to the Celtics. So it was, I was really happy for him. And obviously he's done a, tremendous job there, but I was just as surprised as anybody else.
Well, listen, Matt, it's been a pleasure. We appreciate you being here. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys can put together to follow up a season. No pressure at all. You guys just won the Missouri Valley regular season title last year. So good luck following that up in year one as the head coach at Indiana State. We will be back with more Missouri Valley Media Day coming up next.